Welcome. Sorry for that delay. I know we never start this show on time. That's
My computer exploded.
Yeah, and also partially my fault because I'm not seeming to be timely lately. I did try putting this back on Twitter, but if you see this on Twitter, you don't view it on Twitter. Like you can't comment, and we can't see you. So, Anyway, tell the people how you're feeling about this week. This week is a doozy.
Oh my goodness. So I don't know about you. I saw you tweeted this out. I forget how long ago. I'm terrible with time now. But like RB rankings past like a certain number is just ugly. And I think it got even uglier this week.
It was just running back, but now it's everybody.
Yeah, because everyone's
now it's
out.
Everything.
I mean,
yeah, no, this week is a disaster. Like the whole week is just a total disaster. I feel like I'm just looking at my phone waiting for the next shoe to drop.
And guess what? It's first week of playoffs nonetheless.
Well, let me get your opinion. I just have a Dynasty trade come through just now, an opinion. Why don't we talk about that? Because it's a little bit more positive. So it's a 12-team Superflex, 1.75 tight end premium. Superflex 1.75 tight end premium. Jalen Hurts for 2023 first and Noah Fant.
I don't know how I feel about that because
feels kind of light, right?
It feels kind of light because
feels light.
It feels light. I love my 2023 first. We talked about that a couple of times, but
I'm sure we have.
Superflex. Nah, I can't do that. I have to keep Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is a good fantasy quarterback. We don't know if he's a good real life quarterback just yet. I know we should have gotten an answer by now or somewhat close to one, but he's good at fantasy, and that's what matters. I mean, he has to stay in the field though, but
yeah,
I'm a fan of the Jalen Hurts side.
Me too. It's not the worst trade. I mean, if that 2023 first ends up being Bijan, then like
gigantic L.
Then it's not a bad trade. This is a very good trade, right?
But the odds of that, because I know Bryce Young's there. So
I mean, the team giving up the first, it's their own first, and that team is obviously in the playoffs now, but it's not the greatest team. I don't think there's any way that pick is going to be like the 101 or 102. So you're probably not getting Bijan. So I would take the Hurts side.
It's tough to deal away a good fantasy player when you can't guarantee yourself Bryce Young or Bijan. So
yeah, I only mentioned it because that's a trade addicts trade, and it literally just came in. I'm at DLF, with Dynasty Outhouse. So there was another one earlier today, actually, with Dynasty Outhouse. That was Darren Waller for Dawson Knox and Russell Gage. How the mighty have fallen.
This is where we are now.
It's where we are. I still think I still think that's not enough, but that's not ridiculous. That's not ridiculous. Also, I will say, I don't have a lot of in advance questions this week. If you want questions answered, put them in the chat. We have so many things. I mean, we have so many things to talk about. Injuries, COVID. It's just like we can talk about situation after situation. So we're going to do that. Austin Eckler is playing. I think we know that. But there are other things.
Yeah.
But you're going to have a lot of decisions tonight. So if you have decisions about tonight's players, you want to ask that. So Jesse was the first one to bring in a comment. I'm in 8 leagues. I missed the playoffs in 4. I got buys in the other 4. Just kind of chilling. Fair enough. Yeah, you got nothing this week. So watch those waivers, though. Everything is going all wrong. He asked me on Tony or whatever, asked me on Twitter, but can you elaborate on why Mike Williams over CH? Just what I said. I'm a slight underdog this week. So let's talk about that. Both in tonight's game, I think these are the players that you're going to have a decision about, right? You're going to start Austin Eckler. We learned this lesson last week, right, with Dalvin Cook. We're going to start Austin Eckler. Where do you have Eckler?
Number 2.
I have him at 4. So I just like Kamara and Taylor more. But
Yeah.
Same thing. I have him at 4.
It's the same grouping. Once you get up that high, it doesn't really matter. You're about starting them anyway.
Everyone has Cook at 1, pretty much. So, Eckler, you're going to start. Keenan Allen, you're going to start. Herbert, you're going to start. Mahomes, probably you will. You will need to start. Hill, Kelsey, you're going to start them. Darryl, so, you're just going to come down to Mike Williams, CEH, and maybe for people desperate, Darrell Williams or potentially Jared Cook are going to be some of the players we're discussing. So these two, I think, are the ones that are going to be most up in the air. If you have a playoff team, you're probably having a legitimate decision. Are you going to play Mike Williams or CEH? So at this point with COVID, I would lean toward playing players you have. They're there now. You don't know if you're going to have players later. So if they're healthy and available, I would lean toward playing them. But in this case, where do you have Clyde among running backs right now?
Right now, before the madness starts this weekend, I have him at 21.
Knows, yeah. 21?
Yeah.
I have him at 20. So we're close on Clyde. What
Very
about Mike Williams among receivers?
I have Mike Williams at 18. I feel like that's the sweet spot.
It's funny. We don't review these before the show.
Oh, we did it again?
Yeah, I also have him at 18. So we don't review these before the show, but
I feel like it's like a tier break, like right there. Like honestly.
Somewhere around there.
Because I put like DK Metcalf, Ayuk after him. I kind of want to move Ayuk above him.
Well, now DK Metcalf is above him because with Tyler Lockett just got popped.
How long ago was that?
That was about an hour ago. Yeah, Lockett was put on the COVID list, so he will.
Well, okay, I have to revise. The madness is already starting. I didn't.
Yeah, I also missed in the middle of the day that somehow TJ Hawkinson became out for the year. I don't know when that happened. I missed that. At this point, I mean, there's just so many as an injury every 5 minutes or a new COVID case. But yeah, elaborate. I like Mike Williams' matchup against the Chiefs. They're going to need to play a high-scoring game. CEH is his failure. You can't trust him. You can't trust him. Any week it could be the Darrell Williams goal line experience. So you can't do that. So you're going to have to go with Mike Williams. Yeah. Okay, but let's talk about a couple of other things.
There's a lot.
Well, there's so many things. Oh, Allen Robinson was put on the COVID list about 20 minutes ago.
You know, it's funny because I didn't even rank him, and I didn't know that.
I ranked him, but he was quite low. The Browns will play Nick Mullins at quarterback this week, it looks like. Case Keenum was put on the COVID list earlier today.
So what do you think the sportsbook carry is going to be for Nick Chubb over under? A
lot.
46 and no, I'm kidding.
I know it's going to be a lot.
It's going to be at least probably 20.
Also, there's more bad news. The Browns have more COVID cases coming. We know there's more. We just don't know who they are, but there's more. So there's going to be another bomb to drop after Keenum. What if we find out that Mullins is out too, and then there's no quarterback?
Who's their emergency? I gotta look this up.
I don't know. Jarvis Landry is their emergency,
yes,
but he's also on the COVID list.
Oh well, they don't.
So they don't have him.
Nick Chubb Wildcat all game?
I guess so. I mean, not luckily, but Nick Chubb had COVID recently, so he's not going to go on the COVID list. There's a 90-day blackout period after you have COVID where you don't get tested. So he's not going to go on the COVID list again. So he's going to be available.
He'll be the only one available Saturday night at this rate.
Might be the only one available because I can't possibly cover. I'm not going to cover every player. And some of these players may still play, but here are some players on the COVID list. I mean, Case Keenum, Baker Mayfield at quarterback, leaving you with Nick Mullins. Alex Collins today put on the COVID list. Gives me a little bit more confidence in Rashad Penny as a play, somewhat. Alexander Madison is on the COVID list. He's out. Darrell Henderson remains on the COVID list, and he also still has his quad issue. Myles Gaskin, Phillip Lindsay, Salvan Ahmed are all on the COVID list. And Malcolm Brown may return from his quad injury on IR. So you have 4 running backs there up in the air. All of the Dolphins running backs are vaccinated, but Gaskin went on the COVID list first, so he's the most likely one to clear, you would think. Jamal Williams remains on the COVID list, so it's unclear if he's going to come off the list in time. You would think, but it's not clear. He might be a symptomatic case. Mark Ingram is still on the COVID list, unless he came off of it at some point recently. But I didn't hear about that. Okay, a receiver. Allen Robinson, we mentioned, was just put on the COVID list. Jalen Waddle put on the COVID list. He won't play. That gives Devontae Parker an uptick in my rankings. Kadarius Toney wasn't going to play anyway with his quad and oblique, but he's also on the COVID list. Tyler Lockett was put on the list today. He won't play. Odell Beckham was put on the list on Monday. He has a chance to play, but it seems like generally players put on the list the same week do not play. So I don't think we're going to have no Odell Beckham. Jarvis Landry seems like he is on the COVID list and will also miss the game because it's on Saturday. It's not going to be enough time for him to clear. Quez Watkins is on the COVID list also, and it seems like he's out. So no Quez Watkins this week either. Then at tight end, Austin Hooper was put on the COVID list this week. It seems like he's not going to make it in time. Then David Njoku remains on the list. But Harrison Bryant may return. So if they have a quarterback and Bryant plays and Njoku and Hooper miss, then potentially Bryant could be a sneaky tight end start this week. I'll take that back. Njoku was just activated from the COVID list about 11 minutes ago. So perhaps Njoku could be a tight end streamer this week then if Hooper doesn't make it back in time. At this point, I can't even follow. Like, can you even follow all of this? Like, and that was just COVID. I didn't even get to injuries. That's just COVID. We could get into, there's so many injury situations too. What do you think about all of this?
I think we have to start with the running back position because I don't know if he came out at practice. I was talking to a couple of friends. I heard Leonard Fournette and Aaron Jones weren't spotted.
Well, let's talk about that. Yeah, so Leonard Fournette has a mysterious ankle injury. We don't know when that happened. He might play. We're not going to know anytime soon. We're going to know when we get the Friday injury report if he's going to play. My guess is that he's going to play. But DNP is scary. If Fournette is not on the level where he's going to go DNP and not play and play. So if he doesn't get in at least a limited session tomorrow, he will not play. And then Ronald Jones, you cannot trust Ronald Jones, but I would consider playing him as a RB3 candidate. Similar to Rashad Penny.
Yeah, I agree.
But then there's other situations. Okay, let's take a look at some of these comments. So it's crazy. I feel like this is way worse than last year. There were a lot more precautions without any vaccine. So it was better for most of this year. But now with Omicron seems to be a little bit more breakthrough, even if it's a little bit less severe. I think that's responsible for the increase in cases. What do I know about, it's no secret. We all know, I've talked about this on SLF. I got vaccinated a long time ago. I got the booster shot a couple of weeks ago at this point. And I think that was a good decision. But it does seem that unless you get the booster shot, and I don't know how many NFL players did, it doesn't really give you a lot of protection from catching Omicron, which, it could explain why there's a lot more cases. To me, I will say, and I will say this, publicly, I've said this privately, I say this a lot. I no longer find this season fun. This is not fun. Imagine, what if I'm me and I do this all day, every day. I can't keep up with this. What if you're just someone like casually playing fantasy football? One day you look at your lineup, you have all these players. Let's say you could have had Tyler Lockett today, this week. What if you had Tyler Lockett, Jalen Waddle in your starting lineup? You had those two in the starting lineup. Now you don't have them. Your wide receiver 1 and your wide receiver 2 gone. You want to replace them, right? You could replace them. Maybe there are players on waivers. who could be on waivers. I don't know. Jarvis Landry, gone. Allen Robinson, desperation play. He's gone too. It's just, this isn't fun. I think there are a few people who relish in the chaos, but I do not think your average fantasy manager enjoys this. I don't think this is fun. I think that we're lucky that this is happening so late in the year because, it's only playoffs. People want to win in the playoffs. They'll deal with it. But I think if this were starting in week 6, you would get a lot of your casuals just be like, fuck this. I'm not dealing with this anymore. This is ridiculous. It takes an hour every week just to deal with anything. And I get it. And, Jesse's saying it's not fun at all. Again, I feel like it is okay because it's really only coming up this last couple of weeks. There's 4 weeks left to go in the season. If we started this in week 1 and this is what the whole season was like, this would not work. You couldn't do a whole season of this the normal way. There would have to be, you just can't play fan. You can, but it wouldn't be fun. I think you would get a lot of people quitting if this were the situation. AJ Green, well, that's a whole other thing we didn't even talk about. Sorry if I sound so angry today. It's just every 5 minutes there's a new injury. There's a new COVID case. It's I'm barely letting Ryan talk, and I know that.
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm just listening.
No, I know. It's just
you're updating me on things that I keep up with this a lot too, and I didn't even know about Tyler.
But that's part of what I'm talking about. Is you keep up with this all day, right? This is something maybe you're not as crazy as me, but you might actually have hobbies or a life or those things. But no, I'm the one who spent all day out of pocket anyway. But if you're learning stuff from me, that's bad. That means there's way too much to keep up with. Where do you have AJ Green ranked this week? Because DeAndre Hopkins mysteriously is now out for the year. I don't know when that happened.
Yeah, I don't know. This year is just crazy. You were talking about it. I have AJ Green at 28 because I trust Kyler.
30. I have him at 30.
It's close.
Yeah. What about Christian Kirk? Where do you have him?
I have him higher at 23. I know
27.
I know AJ Green got the bump in volume last week, but Kirk did have the big plays, and I don't know. I like him how you
Zach Ertz.
Zach Ertz. I have Zach Ertz at 9.
I have Zach Ertz at 7. Rondell Moore.
I didn't even rank Rondell Moore.
I have Rondell Moore at 47, so that explains it.
Yeah, I stopped at 45, so he probably would have been 46 or 47.
Yeah. But that's it, AJ Green for you. So now we'll go back to this question. So as of now, this brings up a whole other problem. So Ayuk is what he is. Ayuk, I think you can play him. Where do you have Ayuk?
I have Ayuk at 20.
It seems it's kind of spooky because I also have him at 20. Exactly.
Well, I have DK Metcalf in front of him, so I was going to move him, but I have DK Metcalf a spot in front of him. I feel like Ayuk could just take the points. 20 seems like a good spot.
I know.
He's going to score points.
I agree.
Money, but he's a consistent option, and he's going to get targets.
Absolutely.
What more do you want at this point in the season?
I don't know.
He's going to be on the field.
And what about Jeff Wilson? What if Mitchell doesn't play? I don't know where. I don't even know. The beat reporters seem to think he was going to play, but now it doesn't look like he's going to play.
I'd probably squeeze him in at 27, 28, 29 in that range because I ranked Mitchell like he was going to play.
Yeah, Mitchell was working on the side.
Yeah, it's not sounding too hot.
Yeah. So I guess, if Mitchell doesn't play, then do you play Wilson over these guys?
No.
Or do you just go with Ayuk?
You just go with Ayuk. I feel
Where do you have Mooney? Now that Robinson is out, Mooney might get a boost.
I have Mooney at 26. I don't think he'll go up all the way to 20.
Yeah. I had him at 26. Now I have him at 24. Yeah, this is not realistic. The schedule for the playoffs is set in stone. There will be none of this. They're going to play the games no matter what.
Can you believe we have a Monday night game for playoffs now?
Yeah.
I can't wrap my head around that still. It's been a while.
Yeah. Okay, so going to the first week of playoffs without Jalen Waddle, A.J. Brown, Elijah Moore, DeAndre Swift, and James Conner, going to need a miracle. Well, I mean, Elijah Moore.
Out?
What?
Is James Conner out? I think he's
well, I mean, he didn't participate.
It didn't look good.
He didn't participate in either practice this week. So 2 practices out. So that doesn't look good.
He's the only one that's listening.
Edmonds is going to return and be an RB1, right? I mean, let's say anything about that. If Connor doesn't play and Edmonds does, this week is against
Detroit. Yeah. We saw both the running backs.
I mean, Edmonds is an RB1, right?
Yeah.
If that's the situation, Edmonds or David Montgomery?
Edmonds, because I have Montgomery at 13.
Yeah. I would have Edmonds at 8 if that were the situation.
I'd probably put him at 10. But Elijah Mitchell's up there, so I'd probably move up to 9. So
no, I'm all in on Edmonds if that's the case. He's must play. Even more than Connor is, because Connor's not. If Edmonds is activated, that means he's fully healthy. I do think, though, that they have zero trust in Eno Benjamin. One of these two is going to be forced in, whether they're healthy or not. I lean that Edmonds is healthier, though. I think Edmonds, neither is 100%, but I think Edmonds is healthier than Connor.
I really dislike how they glossed over that at the end of the game last week.
Yeah, that was just another thing. They glossed over that. They glossed over the Hopkins injury. The whole thing, I just can't keep track of.
No, Hopkins' injury came out of nowhere. Like he didn't show signs at the end of the game. They showed the cameraman with James Conner lying on the field, and they just didn't say a thing about it. Like he was just laying down on the field, hurt. No one said anything.
At this point, I just can't. I can't follow it anymore. Like I'm one person. I can't keep up. There's too many things. I've been seeing reports that Derek Carr might be benched for Mariota. I don't think so, right? No. I don't think this is.
That's kind of a misconception. Derek Carr is good at football.
I mean, don't you think that Derek Carr is going to eviscerate the Browns?
Yeah. I mean, who's he playing against? Really? I don't know who's active for that defense still.
I mean, literally there's no one left. I think that the Raiders are going to destroy them. So I would actually consider playing Derek Carr this week much more confidently than I would have before. I mean, but of course, recently we found out that Darren Waller is already ruled out this week. Mm-hmm. Because of course, there just needed to be another injury. That one is very suspicious.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got a bump. Kirk and Mooney got a bump. Kirk more so.
Yeah, because Allen Robinson was doing nothing anyway. Like.
Yeah. No, we're not playing Antoine Wesley. Right? We're not doing. Keep streaming Taysom Hill or Trevor Lawrence without Meyer. We can't play Trevor Lawrence right now. We can't do that.
As much as I love the narrative.
We didn't even talk about that. That goes to show you that happened today. And it's so many other things that we didn't even talk about Urban Meyer being fired.
I mean, what's there to say? I mean, my Twitter feed has had some quality.
You saw my tweet.
Yeah. I see everyone's thrown out an opinion.
Well, I said it 4 days ago that they had to fire him immediately because there was still 4 weeks of damage he could still cause. And then he managed to cause damage in that time, and now he's finally gone. Yeah.
Did you see the Bowling Green comment?
Oh, God. I think I've seen enough of Urban. I will say, I think that Travis Etienne is given the comments from the interim head coach and, Lawrence about James Robinson. There is zero doubt who the starter is next year. It's James Robinson, not Travis Etienne. The coach who overdrafted him, Travis Etienne was not a first-round talent. It never should have been a first-round pick. And he was second-round pick. I mean, good running back, should be second-round pick. The coach who overdrafted him is gone. So
never a good sign.
No, not good. So he's someone in Dynasty. I think a lot of people are going to spin this as, oh, Urban Meyer is gone. Travis Etienne will be unlocked. No. I think that Travis Etienne is pass catching backup.
Now Trevor Lawrence will be unlocked, hopefully.
No, that I agree with. I think James Robinson is actually going to be the most fixed by this. I think he's going to be the one because I don't think Trevor Lawrence is going to be usable over these last few weeks anyway. The offense is so depleted of talent because of injuries. He's a rookie who lost his top outside receiver in DJ Chark, his starting tight end in Dan Arnold, his pass catching back before the season even started. And then, also lost a breakout player in Jamal Agnew. And Marvin Jones looks like he's done. And, Laviska Shenault is not it. So it's not surprising that Trevor Lawrence is not succeeding for fantasy. Now, I would like to see a little bit more of what Mac Jones is doing, at least playing well for real life, even if it's not fantasy viable. We're not seeing that. But I don't think that Trevor Lawrence is going to become fantasy viable even this week. I still have him at 27. And maybe that's a little low. I might raise him up a couple of spots.
Yeah, I'm at 24. Right.
I'm still not clamoring to play him.
It's got a good matchup. It's nothing to raise him up into the teens for, but
yeah, I just feel like it's actually James Robinson is squeaky wheel.
Yeah, I agree.
James Robinson is squeaky wheel, not Trevor Lawrence.
Oh yeah.
And I do think,
how high do I
the one thing I do think is that the problems with Laviska Shenault are on Laviska Shenault. They're not on the coaching staff. The problems, Laviska Shenault is just not that good. If he could play outside, he would play outside. If he could beat out Laquan Treadwell for snaps, he would. If he would have done it.
How about that? Urban Meyer's great resurgence project.
Yeah. Laviska Shenault, I think, is more of just a gadget player kind of guy. I think the upside's not there. Okay. Does Waller come back this fantasy season? It seems like he gets farther and farther away from playing every week. Waller, to me, I'm done with him in Dynasty. I mean, what was his last game, really? I did a whole discussion about this on the DLF show, and I was like, what has he had? 3 good games, really, this season? I mean, he's had good games, but 3 really good games.
Yeah. What was it, 18 or 19 targets against the Ravens? It feels like years ago at this point.
Yeah, I mean, he's had 3 games with more than 5 receptions.
Yeah.
Not good enough. Not good enough for what you paid for him.
I'm honestly, I know we were kind of sounding the panic alarm in past seasons about the tight end position, but it might get really bad next year if Kelsey's slowing down a little bit.
Hawkinson's out for the year. So he's gone for the year. I think people are disappointed. I think you should be. I think you should be disappointed in what TJ Hawkinson delivered this year. A good first few games and then nothing. Not good enough. Then Darren Waller, same thing, really. First 1 week, week 1 was so good. And then after that, everything has kind of gone to shit with him. Not good enough. If you invested in Darren Waller, you're unhappy. If you invested in Travis Kelce in a startup, he's been good. He's been great, but not good enough. Not good enough at his age. You're disappointed in the investment you made. You spent a second-round startup pick on him, and you're not getting the second-round startup value out of him. So that's a big disappointment. I mean, really, who could you have drafted that you're happy with? Kyle Pitts, I guess the value's gone up. I guess that was the right move. And Mark Andrews. Mark Andrews, if you drafted Mark Andrews, you're very happy.
I mean, Gronk maybe. I mean, where you picked him.
Gronk is, if you took a late flyer on Gronk, you paid off big time. Dalton Schultz.
That's it. Look, yeah. Dawson Knox off of waivers too.
Oh, Dawson Knox. Yeah, Dawson Knox. Excellent choice. Yeah. One of those 3, Knox, Schultz, and Gronk, are the ones where you kind of got them late and they gave you tight end 1 production. Especially Gronk, really, for the production he's given you.
It's rough.
My guess is that Waller does not come back, personally. Spot, can Waddle be similar to Deontay Johnson or Chris Godwin down the road? What about Elijah Moore? You don't really think okay. Neither of these 2 players are going to be Chris Godwin. They don't have Chris Godwin in them. They're not that. That's not going to happen. I don't know. I don't really see these players as similar to Deontay Johnson either.
No.
Maybe a little.
Maybe a little bit. I feel like it's the role that they use Waddle in now, but I feel like that's kind of Tua.
Yeah, I don't know if that's specific. Elijah Moore is, a smaller player. So, I mean, Deontay Johnson is not the world's biggest, but not really. I mean, I think a better question would be, do you think these players are going to be fantasy gold mines down the line? And I would say yes and yes. Yes for Waddle, yes for Moore. I'm more confident in Waddle.
Yeah, I've seen enough in both.
Yeah, I have seen enough with both too, but I'm more confident in Waddle. Well, I do have a few questions in advance. I didn't take as many because there's just too many uncertainties. A lot of the questions that are players tonight or players on Sunday, it's like a player tonight I know and 3 different hypotheticals. It's like it's hard for me to answer in hypotheticals. But here's a couple. So Hunter Henry or Jared Cook, half PPR. Do you play Jared Cook tonight or do you wait for Hunter Henry?
I think you play Jared Cook tonight. I mean, I guess you get a bump for certainty a little bit.
Cook's snap shares have been declining. Allen is back. I really don't want to play Cook.
I'm taking the certainty here. I just don't know.
I get it. I mean, Henry could go on the COVID list between now and then. So I totally get it.
I feel like tonight's players got a huge bump because they're all taking the field.
I've said that. Yeah, I said that earlier. Yeah, I mean, I get it. What about where do you have these guys ranked though?
I have them both in the late teens. I have Hunter Henry where's my list? There it is. At 16, and I have Jared Cook at 18.
Yeah, I have Hunter Henry at 14 and Cook at 17. So similar. All right. Zeke or Eckler? So Eckler, we talked about where we have him ranked. So we both have him high. Zeke, where do you have Zeke this week? I've seen him like everywhere.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about my ranking. I put him at 18. He's, not a bad matchup against the Giants. And
yeah, we're gonna differ here.
Give him way up.
I have him at 26.
Oh, even further down.
Way down. Yeah, no. I won't be playing Zeke this week. I can't do it. I can't do it. I just don't. I don't want to play Zeke this week at all. I'm 26. Yeah, I mean, Pollard is back and healthy. I think at this point, Pollard is probably healthier than Zeke, even coming off the plantar fascia. Yeah, so not Zeke. Maybe 26 is a little bit low, but I mean, that's also assuming Elijah Mitchell is ranked, for example. Assuming he plays. Michael Carter is ranked ahead of him, assuming he plays. That's a whole other situation we haven't gotten to yet. Myles Gaskin is actually ahead of him, assuming he plays, which we don't know. Either way, no matter what, the answer to this question is Eckler. Okay. From Reese So Real, Jalen Guyton or Gabriel Davis? Okay. So Emmanuel Sanders is out. We know that. So where did you land on Gabriel Davis?
I put him at 43.
Okay, I have him at 44. So we're almost exactly the same.
Yeah, I didn't rank Guyton, so.
I ranked Guyton at 57. So pretty low. So Gabriel Davis for me. Yeah, thank you. We're going to continue doing this show in some form during the off season. We haven't decided on the recording time, the day. We're probably going to try to drop it as a podcast as well. So we'll see about that. But thank you. Let's continue. Okay. Start 2. Pittman, KJ Osborne, AJ Green?
Pittman and Green.
I
do love me some KJ Osborne, though.
Where do you have Pittman?
I have Pittman at 21.
And I have him at 19. Green, we talked about already. Osborne?
I have Osborne at 34.
I'm at 38. So a little bit lower. What's Penny's Dynasty trade value?
Oh gosh. I mean, I assume this person is out of the playoffs, and they actually have a good Dynasty trade deadline, which is none. That's a topic we can discuss about at a later date. But I mean, I don't feel like I'd give up more than like a third for him, but I feel like maybe catch a second if someone's super desperate, but that's about it.
Yeah, if you can get a couple thirds, I think that's the best you can do. I don't think you're going to get a second. Brady or Herbert?
Brady barely. I think this is preference at this point.
I have Herbert at 2, so I'm going to go Herbert.
I have Herbert at 5 and Brady at 3.
Yeah, I have Herbert at 2 and Brady at 4.
It's just preference. Honestly, you can start either of them and probably be happy with it.
You can start either and you'll be fine. Okay. Hardman or AJ Green? I didn't. Did you rank Hardman?
No,
because I didn't. I have Hardman.
I definitely didn't rank him.
I ranked 67 players and didn't rank Hardman, so I have Green at 30. Mike Williams, Devontae Parker, standard.
Interesting enough, I have Devontae Parker higher.
Yeah, but I think that given the Jalen Waddle COVID test, I don't think you can risk it. I think you have to just play Mike Williams now because you have him now.
I have him 2 spots apart.
I have Williams higher, but I think you can't risk it. Waddle tested positive, so the odds are that Parker's going to test positive too. So
okay, I agree with you. I have if they were both to play, I'd start Devontae Parker, but take the points.
Yeah, I think you just got to play Mike Williams because you have him.
You can't eat a 0 of that caliber of player.
No, you can't. Okay, from Austin, Herbert tonight or Mac Sunday? It's Herbert tonight.
Herbert tonight by a mile.
Yeah, I have Herbert.
Regardless.
Where do you have Mac?
I have Mac at 23. It just feels like
I'm at 22. Yeah, it doesn't feel great this week.
Yeah, it's one of those things. You come out and throw 3 passes.
This is a brag post, I think.
This is a brag post.
You have to choose. Who is receiver 1 and 2?
It has to be some combination of Cooper Kupp, Justin Jefferson, Devontae Adams, probably. Yeah. I would assume.
Where do you have Deontay Johnson?
7.
I have Deontay Johnson at 4. What about Godwin?
1 spot ahead of him at 6.
I have Godwin at 7. So I go Deontay Johnson.
I go Godwin, but start them both. Come on.
Yeah,
come on.
So okay, now with Njoku back. So let's say for the purposes of this question that Njoku is alone there, but he has Nick Mullins at quarterback. Conklin is just kind of in his situation. And Everett, now remember that Lockett is on the COVID list. So, opening some targets for him there. So with all of that information, what would you do here?
I mean, I feel like you just got to play it safe, and with Conklin, he's going to get targets with no Thielen. I had him higher anyway. I mean, even before I knew about – because I don't know how closely, maybe he could catch a positive test from Tyler Lockett. Everett could.
Yeah, we don't know how much those rooms meet with each other.
Exactly. That's what I was trying to phrase. And then Njoku, I don't trust it at all.
No, I can't trust him. I can play him, but I can't trust him.
Yeah.
I have Conklin at 15, Everett at 16, and Njoku at 20. So
I have 13, 17, and 19. So.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So how do you feel about Foster Moreau? So we're talking about tight ends. He's been a failure the last 2 weeks. Could you go back to him against Cleveland? The Cleveland defense is completely depleted.
I mean, yeah, but it's so tough because you don't know how. I ranked him at 21.
I have him at 18.
Yeah, it's so hard you can't trust it.
I agree.
I don't know the Cleveland defense is, like you said, going to be depleted, but how are they exactly going to look? You don't know. We don't know what's going to happen.
I'm with you on that we just don't. We just don't know.
I'm happy we'll get additional clarity before the week technically starts because the game's on Saturday.
Yeah, I think that the issue really is that with players tonight, we just have too many balls up in the air. We just can't. I just can't give you enough info. I think that's
most of the players tonight are must starts anyway, regardless.
Yeah, it's really Mike Williams, who I think is almost always a start. I think it's Clyde. Clyde and Cook are the ones that Mike Williams, I'm almost always going to say start. It's Clyde and Cook, I think, are the ones that are really up for a debate. Because you're not going to start any other Chiefs receivers. And you're not going to start Guyton or Palmer. So, okay.
No, not at all.
Yeah, love your show and thank you both for the help. Thank you. I will say that this week is just kind of, this show is, we do this show to give people advice going into the Thursday night game. But unfortunately, like, this week is just such a shit show that it's really hard to give too much advice other than players now. Okay, from Edward here. So Eli Mitchell or Eckler? It's got to be Eckler because Eli Mitchell, there's so many things. He could be injured. There could be another COVID test. We can't have that. So got to be Eckler because he's here now, playing now. So, right?
Yeah, 200%.
Yeah. Where would you even, where would you rank Mitchell if he did play?
I put him at 9 because the matchup is just an absolute. You couldn't ask for a better one, really.
Yeah, it's also, we do have to remember that with the 49ers, if Mitchell plays, he's healthy. If he doesn't play, then obviously he wasn't healthy. But if he goes, you can play him with full confidence. So I have him at 9. But yeah. Allen, Herbert, Dak.
Allen.
3-point passing touchdown.
That's a weird number for passing touchdown.
Yeah, it's low. This is also the kind of thing where, do you just are you willing to wait on Allen? Or do you how worried are you about COVID cases? I have Herbert ranked the highest anyway, so I would just play him.
I don't know,
because I don't want to get stuck with Dak.
That is true. It's tough, but
this is just a nightmare. I have Herbert. For me, it's easy because I have Herbert the highest, so I would just play him.
I think this week our ranks don't totally reflect our start-sit decisions as they would in the past.
No, because the problem is that I don't have I don't know where to rank players, and because there's so much uncertainty out there with the COVID. It's really the COVID list, because how players clear it's not like I can go look it up so easily. So it's a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I just feel like there's so many things going on.
There's so much going on. It's a madhouse, and right in time for the playoffs too.
The
worst time.
So today, we have the Chargers and Chiefs today, and then they changed the rules. I don't know if you saw that.
Probably not. I haven't seen anything.
Yeah, NFL changed the rules to allow vaccinated players to come back.
Oh yeah.
Saturday, then we have Vegas and Cleveland, which is going to be. Cleveland is going to be completely depleted. And then New England and the Colts. So you're going to have those two games kind of up in the air on Saturday, and then you have all the Sunday, Monday games. But yeah, I just feel frustrated because it's difficult. Well, let me explain how I feel. It just feels like doing this show is pointless because in 2 hours there's going to be and then tomorrow morning there's going to be I can do the show for this game and help you guys for this game, but it just feels like these days, doing shows, it's why I like Dynasty, because the information that I give on that show, a COVID positive doesn't change it. Doesn't change really my Dynasty trade values for a player just missing 1 week. I don't adjust my rankings because someone goes on the COVID list. I don't know what that means.
I think he
But
gets
just
subbed
like,
out for an injury.
yeah, I guess so. But like with a situation like this, it's just kind of like, how do I even give you advice? Like, what do I, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's tough.
It's frustrating.
Exactly, because we don't know what it's going to be like tomorrow. I mean,
No.
Schefter said about like the mass test or whatever it was. I forgot the tweet exact wording, but you don't. Any of these guys go on the COVID list except the ones playing tonight, of course, because we know that they're going to be active. So it's
Yeah.
tough.
Yeah, I think so. It's just you have to go there. I'm sure tomorrow we're just going to hear about more players on the COVID list.
Oh yeah, for sure. And we didn't even bring up Lamar's ankle, Jalen Hurts'
No, we didn't
injury.
talk about that. I mean, what do you think? I don't even know. Like, do you think Lamar plays?
I don't think Lamar plays. I don't think he does. It's against Green Bay. It's a big game. But I just don't think he goes.
You don't think he goes?
No.
I bet he does. I think he goes. If he doesn't go, you think can you play Tyler Huntley?
No, I put Tyler Huntley at 27, even though I like Rashad Bateman last week with him. And he did good last week.
Yeah, I'd probably slide Tyler Huntley in at 25. Yeah, 25.
That's fair. I mean,
not high though. And then what about Hurts? Do you think he plays?
I think he might sit this one out too. I think they both sit. I don't know. I just have that feeling they both sit.
And if Hurts sits, I assume that a switch from Hurts to Minshew really doesn't change your rankings for any of the other players, but I assume where would you rank Minshew? Right now I have Hurts at 10. Where would you rank Minshew if he was a quarterback against Washington?
I have Hurts at 11 right now. I ranked them just because I put conditional spots for each of them. I'd probably slide him up above Trevor Lawrence, honestly, 24.
I'd probably put him at 20 or 19, just looking at it. So
yeah, I'd
be more in on him.
I can't bump Goddard up any higher than what I have him at as 5 right now.
No, I have him at 6. Yeah, but I would still start. I would start like Carr and Fields over Minshew.
Yeah, totally. I mean,
are you still alive in Scott Fishbowl?
Matt Nagy could be calling the whole game.
Are you still alive in Scott Fishbowl?
I don't know if he's.
Is that my side? I don't know. Well, anyway, I don't have anything else to say, really. This show is just about a shit show of a week. I guarantee you there's going to be 50 more positive cases in the next 2 days. I don't know what to do about that. But anyway, hopefully some of you who found it on Twitter, Jesse says the internet's been terrible. Oh, Ryan's back. Excellent.
I hopped on it. I have so many different Wi-Fi connections. I guess the one wasn't working. My bad.
It's all good. Craig is asking Jacobs or CEH this week. Jacobs, right?
What is Josh Jacobs going to do to that depleted Cleveland defense?
Yeah, I have Josh Jacobs at 11.
I have him at 12. I feel like I want to bump him up higher.
I have Clyde at 20. So
yeah,
I'll play. I'm willing to wait for Jacobs instead of playing CEH tonight. It's big enough of a difference.
Oh yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, I think close out the show by I'm gonna put a couple of things. So first of all, if you are watching this video and you're not subscribed, please hit the big red subscribe button on your YouTube, wherever you're watching on YouTube. If you want to catch my articles, they're all at DLF, Dynasty League Football. If you want to catch me on Ask DLF, the DLF YouTube channel, that would be a great place to do that. If you're interested in my Patreon, this is the season for it. Coming up, maybe not right now. Now, honestly, now is probably not the best time to sign up. I understand that it's in the middle of playoffs.
I can't do this. I'm trying to point to it.
Yeah.
Sub to that. I can't point. I tried.
Yeah, I will say that I do the best during startup season because I will sit and do the startup with you. This is really a Dynasty Patreon. During the season, it's gotten co-opted by Start Sit rankings and redraft waivers and a lot of stuff. But during the off season, most of what I do is I'll sit there and do the Dynasty startups with you. And those team management tiers, the upper tiers, will give you that. If you want just the spreadsheet and access to my Discord, where there's always not a lot of people in there, but there's a good chat going on. You can ask your question. People will weigh in. I'll get to it eventually. There's that $3 a month option if you want the spreadsheet, cheaper option. I'm going to do redraft rankings this year, so you'll get those eventually. And Dynasty startup rankings for 1 QB Superflex, that kind of stuff. That you can get that at that Patreon. I have patreon.com/fantasy advice. So, but I do expect more of an influx on those signups on January 1st. People signing up for the early season or early off-season startups, because that's my favorite thing to do is help people with startups. And then thanks from Jesse. I appreciate you. Hey, what's up? I gotta get you back on here sometime. I had some discussions with a friend of yours, Ryan.
Oh boy.
Of getting him on here.
I wonder which one, but they're all good options.
I wonder which one, but
all good options.
I mean, it is nice being me. I can get a lot of good guests. People, whatever it is these days is I'm still a small fry in the fantasy football world, but I do get my messages answered. So I will try during the off season to bring you guys some good guests. We're probably, when we host our show, we'll probably we can try to be flexible on the times because it's going to be calling out as podcasts as well as live. So we'll try to work some guests on as well. It'll be fun. I take a little bit of the pressure off me as well. I've been doing a lot of 2-person shows, which is great, but a three-person show takes a little bit of the pressure off me and lets me kind of take it a little easier and not feel like pressured. That's usually my ideal 2 or 3 person shows. I'll try to get you guys some good guests. It'll also be good because I won't feel pressure to have guests. But yeah, so that's something to look forward to on this channel. That's what we're going to be doing on this channel throughout the off season. And I'm also considering having some non-football related podcasts on here, but I don't have specific plans for that. Those won't be regularly scheduled. I just have a few people that I'd like to have for that. I have them in mind, and you'll see that eventually. So I think I plugged everything. I usually don't plug my stuff, but I did today. So thanks everyone for watching, who listened and all that, and good luck tonight and this week. It's gonna be a crazy week. I'm not going live again, but I will be on Twitter. Honestly, I think that'll be more helpful because I'm right there. I'm answering your questions live instead of having to watch it later. So you'll get the up to the minute answers from me, and I'll be keeping track of what's going on. I'm going to try to be online extra this weekend if I can. But yeah, thanks for co-hosting with me. I know it was kind of a train wreck, but I think that's not us. I think that's train wreck. And yeah, we'll be back here Sunday night with a recap.
Yeah.
All right. Peace.